Congrats on Turbulence as well. This is a really fun movie. It's obviously not practical to be shooting in the air for a hot air balloon movie.
No.
But I read that they had a partial balloon rig that they suspended from a crane. Can you talk about just the unique filming of this movie? Because I've never heard anything like this one.
Yeah, it was primarily just us in a basket on a stage, a sound stage. And I mean, I did it with a foot that was in a cast the whole time. I had an operation on my foot to correct my flat feet, and so I couldn't really walk during that time. So standing in a gondola, basically, a basket of a balloon was it made a lot of sense at the time. The only thing I had to do to actually get my foot was on camera, kind of about 2 seconds, and I think they painted it out where I climbed up onto the rigging and sort of tried to lower the balloon. Um, it was it was fun to do it. It was creative, but yeah, there's no Alps. There's no us crossing anything. It just we just sort of pretended, which is what we do. So it was
Yeah,
really
and those hot air balloons, those are not spacious, those are not
no, it's
gigantic
yeah,
things. So
four
how
people
was
in a
it
basket.
filming? Yeah, how was it filming in a cramped space? Like you couldn't really move that much, and your leg
Yeah,
was banged up too.
right. I think that's kind of the engine of the film, is that you're sitting in it and it's cramped and tensions rise. And of course, there's two people on board who are kind of like um, maybe not the most uh, optimistic people or honest people. There's two dishonest and there's two honest people, myself and the guy's wife. And we're sort of along for the ride, figuring out something we didn't know about, which is kind of fun. But that tension, in a basket just elevates the stakes. And it's a good device. I thought it was a neat script when I read it. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, this is worth playing.
And the film is shot a lot with handheld cameras. So the cinematographer is also in this basket with you guys.
Mhm.
How was it just constantly having a camera like up to your face pretty near? How was that experience?
It's something you get used to, it's you adjust. I mean, I started out in the theater. You adjust to the idea that you are being bathed in eyeballs, basically, when you're, on theater on stage. You think to yourself, you have to learn to love the kiss of eyes. That's an expression they use. So you just got to get used to the camera being that other witness. It's just a witness. It's like it's the first set of eyeballs that are going to see the performance, and you just know it's there. You pretend it isn't. But it is fun. And yeah, you do have to kind of choreograph, like in the fight. There's many fight scenes in it that were a little bit, crowded. So you just got to know where the camera is and make sure that you allow for movement past him and not have it cause any troubles.
You mentioned the dishonest characters in this film, and Olga Kurylenko plays a fun one. She's very
Mhm.
mysterious, but you can just tell something's just off with her from the
Yeah,
get
she got
go.
those
And
crazy eyes.
yeah,
Yeah.
your character
Oh, I
gets
don't
way
trust
more
her.
than he signed up for. What stood out about Olga as a scene partner? Because
Well,
there's some fun back and forth.
she's got the juice to like be, she knows how to, own being a nut. She's a little bit wild, and she claims it pretty aggressively. And that made it easy to work with. It's like acting's reacting, that whole idea. She was so clearly disturbed. It was kind of okay to just sit back and think, where's this going? So, and then you'd get to watch it. And then, of course, we all got involved.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really fun film, and you're obviously a legend. One of my favorite shows is The Simpsons, and
Oh, thanks.
you're the wonderful voice of Sideshow Bob. The first movie I saw had a scrapped scene with Bob in it, where he was chanting "Kill Bart" with the mob, and they're like, "We're only going to kill Homer," and he's like, "Oh, okay." Are you hoping to be in the second Simpsons movie?
Well, they haven't asked me, but I think what happens is creatively, if it's a Sideshow Bob story, it kind of eclipses the story. It just becomes about Sideshow Bob trying to maneuver into a position of killing Bart. If it's not going to be that story, I guess he could be sort of in the background a little bit, or maybe a call in from prison, a cameo. But I don't think they can actually dedicate an entire film to a Sideshow Bob revenge plot. But you never know. I mean, I'd be delighted.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a cameo or something in there. And next year's the 30th anniversary for Down Periscope, and like a lot of comedies, that was ripped by critics when it first came out, but it's really found an audience over the years. How do you kind of look back on that film because it's very quotable?
Right. What's interesting is Rob Schneider and I became great friends during that filming, actually. But and we've gone in and out for years, but we're always, we're still on each other's radar. And he's a terrific friend of mine. The boys, the camaraderie in the shooting, and even Lauren Holly. I mean, she was such an integral part of the plot, and took it with such a good spirit. She was like a good egg, and you think, well, this has been a terrific experience. My desire to do that film uh, came from my understanding of military. I wanted to join the Naval Academy when I was a kid. My granddad died. That dream sort of like shifted to theater, which was odd. But um, I love being a boat captain, and I've been a sailor my whole life. I was sailing since the time I was 7 years old, and I used to have a sailboat here. So my first film, which was my first sort of a lead in a feature film, was Down Periscope, and it was because I loved the idea of skippering a boat, of being in charge of a group of men on a mission, trying to at least do their part to save the world, and that's what I loved about that boat, and I loved doing the film, and I loved being on an old World War II boat, which was for real. One of my favorite pictures is sitting up in my office over there. That's um, the boat itself, the not the Stingray. It was called I forget what the name of the original, the actual craft is, but it actually was getting towed to the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was just like a shot out of World War II. And I thought to myself, it was like a way to salute the work that those guys did back during the war, and my imagination just rose to it, and I loved it. The critics. I mean, we were the second movie that week. We were number two. It's okay.
That's wonderful. And next year's also the 20th anniversary of X-Men: The Last Stand, so it's just
Oh
fitting
yeah.
that you're returning as Beast. You've gotten to play like TV characters like Fraser Crane over decades, but it's rare for that to happen in film. So how special is it that you get to come back as Beast, and Marvel knows that people care enough about your portrayal of the character that they're bringing you back?
Yeah, it was a secret, quiet passion of mine to come back to Beast because I love the character. I love him. What I think he stands for. I mean, to my mind, he's the Martin Luther King of the mutant community. He's a man of stature, of integrity, who believes that what you do is who you are, and uh, he's done everything, and he stands. He was slow to action, but once being immersed, he is give no quarter and expect none. He's an amazing character, an amazing man, and. I love playing him, and and I think people will be happy with what we're doing when he comes back. But I'd love to play him again. Honestly, I mean, he's just to me, he's one of the great opportunities in my life.
I love that. And my last question for you, just because you have done so much, Doomsday basically has the most stacked cast of any film I can think of. Like when you're on something that is obviously going to be monumental, not to say it's overwhelming, but can you kind of feel that? Like, does it feel like elevated in a sense?
When we shot one of the scenes where there was a whole bunch of us standing around, I thought to myself, it's pretty cool. There's an old saying, like if you're doing a Shakespeare play, if there are some lines in Shakespeare that are so famous, you kind of wonder how to go about them. The only way to really approach a famous line is to say it like it's a famous line, is to give it its weight. And when you're in that situation and that many famous people are together, you got to play it like it's famous. I mean, and I think they've done that.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that. And Kelsey, congrats on Turbulence. The film's a lot of fun.